Hello everyone, I'm Lucy Fanger, CEO of On Technology Partners, and I'm proud to be sponsoring our new program, Women STaRs. In each episode, we will spotlight an amazing woman and the struggles and triumphs that she has faced. Then we will reflect and share her insights. Our goal is to engage, entertain, and explore the women STaRs in our world today. I hope you enjoy.
I want to thank you all for listening today. My name is Shanti Harkness, and I'm the Media Manager for On Technology Partners, a women-owned company addressing cybersecurity and risk. Join us as we share the reflections of women just like you that have survived struggles and embraced triumphs in their lives. Today, we'll be talking with Erin, Toohey, Naso. Give a mama a problem, and she'll solve it. After too many mornings of arguing with her young children about what to wear, missing the bus, and arriving late to meetings, Erin decided her morning routine needed to be simplified and organized. She developed the Hanger Valet, an outfit organizer that hangs over an outfit on a hanger and has zippered pockets for keeping accessories, jewelry, undergarments, socks, and anything else to go with an outfit. With the help of the Hanger Valet, the routine of picking out outfits for the week ahead returns a priceless return on investment during the weekday rush. The Hanger Valet is made in the USA by a woman-owned manufacturers, has been recognized as a clever item in Real Simple magazine, and has received praise and press in local and national media. Prior to launching the Hanger Valet, Erin was a PR and marketing consultant for more than 15 years, working with small local businesses and large national brands. Through her consultant work, she self-funded the startup of the Hanger Valet and continues to counsel women-owned businesses on do-it-herself PR and marketing strategies. Erin, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today.
Oh, thank you so much, Shanti. I'm so happy to be with you.
So let's go ahead and dive right in. So why don't you tell us something that others may not know about you or something exciting about yourself?
Well, for many, many years, I was a competitive ice skater. I think I started when I was 2 and most recently gave it up about 3 years ago. And I'm 44 now. So I was on a team, which was, it's now called synchro ice skating. Before, back in the day, it was called precision ice skating. So that tells you how long I've been in a sport that the whole name has changed. But it was, with a group of girls doing the same thing at the same time. And one year we were actually national champions. We clinched the title in Alaska. So kind of fun. And I retired. I think I've retired 4 times and gone back 4 times. I'm currently retired again, but it's good fun.
Wow. That does sound exciting. I've always loved watching figure skating. Even as a young child, I just thought it was incredible how much skill and grace and skaters make these incredibly complex jumps and twirls look effortless and just so beautiful.
It's a lot of fun. And it was a lot of fun doing it with the team. I did a little bit of like independent skating, but I really gravitated to team oriented things. So yeah, it still has my heart, even though I'm not skating now.
I don't know. Does that sound like a comeback?
It always is. I can't give it up.
Right? Oh, well, Erin, the triumphs don't come without their struggles, as we all know. So talk to us a little bit about what some of your biggest struggles have been. And this can be either professionally or personally. And talk to us about how you were able to get through that struggle and what kind of an impact it has had on your life or career.
Sure. Yeah. It's really kind of, the struggle is both personal and professional, and something I'm very much a student of now. And that's really the concept of sunk cost fallacy, the idea that most tangibly that you go out to eat and you buy something to eat and it's delicious, but you're full and you continue to eat it even though you're super full, kind of a thing. It's being in a situation for longer than you should, or saying yes to things that you should be saying no to, or staying, with a relationship longer, than you should. Professionally, for me, that meant as a consultant and a freelancer, sticking with clients and projects that didn't really fit, my moral compass all the time, or just didn't bring out the best in me, or, just wasn't a good fit long term. But I had made a commitment, and I really took that commitment a little bit too seriously sometimes. And then also with like the Hanger Valet, what I found is, I had come up with this idea when my children were very small and worked to self-fund it. So it took a while. It took about 6 years to actually get it from, concept to product. And in that time, I had worked with a few different manufacturers to get it, inched across the line or whatever. And the manufacturer that I had launched with really, in the end, could not meet the demands of the sales. And I had a hard time saying goodbye to that manufacturer because I had started with that manufacturer, and it was a hard lesson to learn to do that. And, same thing with relationships. We've all had friendships that we have held on to for longer than we should have. And I think it's, getting comfortable with the idea that it's okay to say, okay, that was good for now. This is not good for, the future. And I think that getting through that, I don't really like to make mistakes. I'm a recovering perfectionist, and as a, PR consultant that build by the hour, I very much value my time. And so mistakes mean time and all of that. But there's really, the growth is in the mistake. The growth is in the lesson. And you have to get comfortable with making those mistakes and having those lessons. And sometimes they come early, sometimes they come later in life. But as long as you, can get through it. And I think also getting through that too is just having good boundaries and good expectations, both for myself and other people. I've always been good about communicating those expectations and boundaries once I have them, just always enforcing is, I'm still a student of that.
Yeah. The enforcement part I have found is often the most challenging aspect of setting boundaries, but they're very necessary. And I can absolutely relate, as I'm sure, many of our listeners can relate to, staying in something far longer than its usefulness.
Right. Exactly. Well, and so much of that too is, I study habits just because I find them interesting. And also because my product does kind of hinge around habits and so forth. And we have our good habits and we have our bad habits. And, you can break or make a habit if you so choose to. You just have to be aware of what that is. And I think that I personally respect people more too when I understand their boundaries and their expectations. And it just makes for such a more seamless, better relationship, whether it's professionally or personally.
I completely agree with that. So aside from the setting of boundaries, do you have any other tips, tricks, or habits that you use that help you to get through challenging times?
Yeah, you know what? I'm kind of I'm a little bit more proactive than reactive. It's just kind of the PR person in me is always searching for the what can go wrong element of things. So I am an avid podcast listener, and I really try and fill my tank with other people's stories, so that as I'm going through something, I know that okay, this is normal. This is other people have gone through this and gotten through this, or so forth. I really like how I built this for entrepreneurial stories, because you hear quite the gamut, of what went wrong, what went right, everything in between. I really like Your World Within. It's a podcast with digestible motivational speeches. They can be anywhere from like 4 minutes to sometimes 3 hours, which is a little bit of an investment of time. I also really like Superwomen with Rebecca Minkoff, because it's a women-only perspective on, women in business and life. And it's just raw and honest and vulnerable. And it's 20 minutes and you can get through it. And quite honestly, in doing preparation for this podcast, I went and listened to some of the other wonderful ladies who have gone before. And I mean, I think this is a fantastic addition to the podcast repertoire that I now have, because I think it's just great advice, great perspective, and just a wide, birth of opinions and backgrounds. So I also have some good go-to, self-care practices too. I walk and think a lot. So hiking, running, walking, whatever that may be. And I never underestimate the power of a glass of wine with a girlfriend.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Some of your best ideas can come from a glass of wine and talks
right?
with a girlfriend.
Right.
So let's take a moment now and focus on your biggest triumph. Can you share what that triumph was and what made it so great for you?
Yeah, I think that for Hanger Valet, the biggest triumph came very early on. As I had said, I was really working on this project for a long time and then went to launch it. Now, I went to launch it in March of 2020. So that was, I took a minute, I gave it like 30 days and said, all right, maybe not right now. And tried in April, because I by that point, I knew that there was no 2 weeks of this. We were going to be in this for a little while, and I wasn't going to put my life on hold for this. So I, had launched and immediately reached out to publications and, national press and so forth. And I had really just wanted to be in Real Simple more than you can even imagine. And they got back to me almost immediately. And it was great because it not only validated this, crazy idea I had that I hadn't really, I had no idea what was going to happen, especially considering that no one was going to work or school, traveling or having weddings or any of the, applications that I had intended this, to be used for. It validated the fact that this was a good idea. This was clever, that this can help people. And also that we were going to get out of this, pandemic one day. And because it came early, it just legitimized, me as a business. Now, it also sold me out, because once I was in the November 2020 issue and I sold out a product, I think within like 4 weeks, something like that, which then directly relates back to the struggles because I was the manufacturer that couldn't create the product as quickly as I needed it. So, you have a high and then you have a low and then you have a high that comes right after. And that's just the nature of life and business.
Wow. It definitely a great triumph to be in the magazine and have that level of a response right away was phenomenal.
It was. And just the real simple people in and of themselves. I mean, some of the nicest, most like down to earth, wonderful people. It was just a great start. I felt like it was a hug from the universe saying, yes, go get it, Erin.
That's amazing. We struggle as women, juggling a multitude of different things. We've got career, family, household responsibilities. Sometimes there's illnesses and caregiving. So talk to us about how you maintain a work-life balance and what do you think that employers could do to be more supportive of that balance?
Well, I will pick a phrase from Rebecca Minkoff that I definitely gravitate to, and there is no such thing as balance. I think that it is an impossible goal, and the more that we use it, the more it sets us up, for failure. I think that personally, I've had to learn how to say no to things, and say, not right now, no, but I can help you another time, having is again, those boundaries and expectations and so forth. And I also try and view my life as balls that are in the air. And some of those balls are glass and some of those balls are rubber and something is going to fall at some point because that's life. And, but I view my family, my children, my mental health, my health, those are all glass balls. And I want to drop those as little as possible. Things like being on executive board of the PSO, that's a rubber ball. If I don't make it to a meeting, yes, I probably let someone down, but is it the end of the world? Absolutely not. And I think that for employers to kind of not look at, someone as one-dimensional, that, they have these balls, and maybe even for themselves to apply that, to their own life too, put them in, the shoes of someone else. I think that just being respectful of someone else's, how they work and the way they work and so forth, it's not always a cookie cutter situation. And to recognize that, I think really, I believe that everyone is doing the best that they can, every day. It's just sometimes people have less energy, than the day before, or less than the person next to them, but not to look at everybody as the same, because we're not.
Or they might be juggling more balls.
Oh, yes.
Yes. And I love that analogy of, some of them being glass and some of them being rubber.
Yeah.
I think that's a great way to look at it. So you're making those priorities.
Right. Right. And also understanding that, if you've got 30 balls in the air in two hands, something is going to happen,
Right.
And at different times. I'm a mom of two kids that are in lacrosse. My May and June are bananas. Mm-hmm. I don't even know how I, put food on the table some days, so there's all kinds of balls on the floor in May, but October, we're good. We're better,
Mm-hmm. It balances out.
Yes.
it evens itself out.
Yes.
So, Erin, as a woman, how would you define success for yourself? And do you have any tips or habits that you use to help you be successful or to feel successful?
Well, if we would have had this interview in the beginning of July, I probably would have had a different answer for you. And I think I would have said that, it's, are you learning? Are you happy? Are you smiling? Are you breathing? All of those things. But in late July, my dad was he had a heart attack while riding his motorcycle, and he was in an accident. He hurt himself traumatically. He didn't hurt anybody else or anything. So we were lucky in that. But the days that followed after that were very touch and go. And ultimately, we had to decide to take him off life support. And it was probably one of the hardest decisions I have ever made and ever hoped to make. But when I was writing the obituary and delivering the eulogy and, drawing on his life and, the way that he's remembered and so forth, the fact that he had started a business when he was 50 and sold it and retired when he was 64 did not even like factor into any of that. To me, it just didn't even matter. He really left, an impression on people. He never gave an empty compliment and always told someone if he was proud of them or what they did great for the day. He was a person that found pleasure and purpose in helping people, be that financially or with his hands or time. He invested in interests and hobbies and was well-rounded and interesting to talk to and always like really listened to. He wasn't on his phone. He wasn't watching TV. He was focused and he never missed a chance to dance. And he was a terrible dancer, but he really just went for it. And so, after going through that, I think I just realized that, we can have these accomplishments and, I really want to run an amazing business and it'd be something to be proud of. But at the end of the day, the number of sales, the money I make, the comments on social, the followers, the likes, it does not matter to me at the end. At the end, if someone, and I hope this doesn't sound morbid, but, if someone's writing my obit, I want it to be about how I helped them or what I did for them or how I made them feel or, something that made their life better, the community better. I want to leave that kind of a mark. So to me, success is really just, making someone be seen, heard, appreciated, valued, validated, all of the things. Cause I just don't think that there's enough of that. And I think that that's what people are remembered for more than they are for their titles and how much money they made and how many followers they have.
Your response it's so wonderful. And I feel like, especially with, mainstream media and social media, we often get into this frame of mind where it's about keeping up with the Joneses and what you can achieve and what you can accomplish and what you can acquire. And with every single one of these interviews, every single woman has had a response similar to yours as far as how they define success. And, saying that it's about the relationships and about helping people and about helping the community. And I feel like in a lot of ways that's missing in our portrayal in the media.
Right.
We're not hearing these feel-good stories on the news.
Right.
And, the news and social media is often all about drama and, extreme emotions, and they're not generally positive, beneficial emotions and stories. And I think it's so refreshing to hear so many women saying, yeah, that's not the case.
Well, that's, and I think that the stories are out there. It's just that, I was never on the advertising side of things, but I understand how things work. And when you click on the Facebook story about this tragedy, this fight, that fight, that's what drives the ad sales. So it doesn't behoove the, various news outlets to give you the good stories. So that's just a fight that we're always going to have as long as we're relying on social media for some of our news intake. But I think that, on the day to day and how you touch people, the screens are only one part of the equation, one screen, two hands. So you can touch more people, hopefully with your hands than, a screen.
Oh, thank you so much for that.
Oh, sure.
Take a moment now and reflect on something that you wish you would have known sooner in life and share that with us.
I think it's probably two things. The first is the sunk cost fallacy. I wish I would have understood earlier in my 20s that, it's okay to, you're graduating from college and making these decisions about the rest of your life. And it seems so important at the time. And I need to do this. And if it, I wish I would have trusted my intuition and gut a little bit more as a young woman, as opposed to how strongly I believe in it now, because I think that I would have made a couple of different moves. I don't necessarily like to have a life of regrets. And I think every step has led me to where I am. And I'm pretty happy, where I am in life. But I think that, I would have liked to have learned that lesson a little bit earlier. And, the other is that I am so type A and driven and go 1,000 miles a minute. And there's been multiple times in my life where I've had to kind of slow down, chill out. And most recently with my dad, because it does help you reevaluate things. And there is such a thing as brain fog, after you've gone through a traumatic event. And it's unfortunate that, some of these hard situations have given me that lesson, but I wish that I would have trusted, because I'm sure someone told me, but I didn't want to believe it. I wish I would have trusted that it's okay to, to go slow at times, to take your time, to not, have all the answers or worry about how everything's going to work out, because it all will in some way, shape, or form.
Thank you for sharing that. And that this actually ties nicely into my next question, which is, what advice would you give to young women that are just beginning their careers, or perhaps women that are thinking about changing careers?
Well, I think there's a lot of women thinking about changing careers now after, the last couple of years that we've had too. I think my advice would be brave and make the call, ask for help. With women, we have a hard time asking for help. We have a hard time admitting we don't know the answers, because quite honestly, we do know a lot of answers. So make the call, whether that's, reaching out and taking a risk on Real Simple magazine, for sake of argument, or asking for an informational interview before you make a pivot and a leap into something different, or asking for someone to mentor you. I think women want to help other women. It's just we have the problem is in the asking. Not everyone knows how to ask, and just get comfortable with asking. And sometimes that's going to go well, and sometimes it's not. But, you have to ask, you have to take the risk, you have to make the call.
And you're right. That's something that is a huge struggle for so many women, because society has taught us that we have to do everything, and we should do it with a smile on our face and make it look effortless. Mm-hmm. And that's not real life.
No.
By any stretch of the imagination.
No. And I think when women are honest about that too, it makes you feel more validated, and, like you can't do it all. Like if someone's asking me about something, now, obviously I feel like, oh, wow, you think I'm an expert in this, or you validate, an opinion that you want, but it also does make me want to then ask other people for help, or especially give the help. I firmly believe in the policy of give, get, and give, that if you ask for help, you return the favor, whether that's to the same person or to the universe, in some way, shape, or form.
Goes around, comes around.
Sure does.
So, Erin, if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, how would they go about getting in touch with you?
Well, for hanger valet reasons, our products are found at thehangervalet.com. And we're also on social media at Facebook and Instagram at The Hanger Valet. Happy to connect on LinkedIn with Erin Naso. And then also my email is erin@thehangervalet.com. And I also want to say, is touching back on the, give, get, give thing. If anyone is, listening and thinking about inventing a product or launching a cut and sew product, or wants to ask for insight or advice on, do-it-yourself PR and marketing strategies for their own business, side hustle, product, whatever it may be, I am happy and available to, be a point of contact and help. And if I can answer your question, I will. And if I can't, I'll set you up with someone, that can. I have received so many favors and help in launching the Hanger Valet, and just in general. I mean, I know that I owe the universe a lot of favors back. So I'd be happy to do that for other women who are listening.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for that.
Sure.
Well, Erin, it has been an absolute joy to speak with you. Thank you again so much for taking the time for this interview.
Oh, thank you so much. It was fun. I'm so appreciative for your time and the offer.
Lots of words of wisdom and gems of advice.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. On Technology Partners wants to thank you for joining us on this episode of Women STaRs. If you'd like to appear on a future podcast episode, or if you'd like to nominate a woman to be interviewed for Women STaRs, please email stars@ontechpartners.com. My name is Shanti Harkness. Until next time, have a great day.
Thank you for joining us on today's journey. Remember, you are all women stars. If you wish to learn more about our Women STaRs program, or want to be a guest on our show, contact us at stars@ontechpartners.com. And thank you to On Technology Partners for helping me make this program a reality. Remember, we at On Technology Partners want to help you protect your team from hackers. To learn more about our cybersecurity services, go to ontechnologypartners.com.